Hey everybody, I just finished a video on extracting honey, and I'm out here cleaning up and I'm waiting for all the honey to drain out of the strainers and everything, and I looked over at my queen excluders. I'm like, you know what, there's some content here, and I've been meaning to do a little video and my take on queen excluders. So here's a queen excluder. This is one of many different kinds. They have plastic ones that are like really budget, below this. And then they have some really premium ones that are like this, but they're like framed in wood, almost like an inner cover. And this is built in. So this is kind of the middle ground. These are the ones I favor. So if you remember back, I made a video about reversing hive bodies. And the question was, when do you reverse hive bodies? And the short answer was when you need to. The whole point was that you do it when it's needed, not based on some arbitrary date that's picked, and you don't just do it. There has to be signs in the hive and timed correctly. Same thing with the queen excluder. My opinion. I don't just put queen excluders on under a super whenever I put a super on a hive. A queen excluder is exactly what the name says. It keeps the queen from going places that you don't want her to go. And now, immediately you're like, well, you don't want your queen going in your honey super, and sometimes I do want my queen going into the honey super. If you're coming out in early spring and you're managing, your hives and you're preparing for swarming, I will use a queen excluder in the very beginning of the spring. I get them on early. I put my supers on real early with a queen excluder. It kind of just gets them in a habit of staying down low, and then I'll put my super above it. Once that flow really kicks in and there's drones and we know that it's kind of swarm season, I'll actually take the queen excluders out, and then what my next queen excluder will be is an empty drawn super. In my mind, the best queen excluder underneath your honey super is an empty drawn super. Bear with me on this. The reason is, if the queen runs out of room and you have that extra honey super down low with no queen excluder, if she needs room, she may borrow some space up in that honey super. And that may have been that last ingredient that you prevented a swarm. So I look at it as an insurance policy, kind of. You put that empty super up, you got your super that already started getting filled from that really early spring flow, and if that queen goes up and lays a round of larvae up in a few of those frames, it's no big deal, because once it all gets settled, and swarm seed, they'll start backfilling that brood with honey. They always want to store their honey up top. They're always going to want to move their honey stores up top and force that brood nest down. So no big deal. You're not ruining your comb. Think of it this way. Some people run all mediums. I really doubt that people are keeping mediums just for honey and just for brood. I can't even see that being practical, or how you could do it. So if they lay up some brood up in that super, no big deal. Yeah, the comb's going to turn dark, but they're going to clean it up and they're going to backfill that with honey. And that's my take on queen excluders. Don't just gratuitously put it on under your super. Try to consider my technique, where the goal is to keep those bees in the boxes. It's not like, oh, well, if they swarm, I'll go catch my swarm. The whole idea is to try to prevent them from swarming. So I believe the lack of a queen excluder in the beginning and up to the peak of swarm season is actually a swarm prevention measure in itself. By taking that queen excluder out, they're going up into that super, they're laying eggs. The queen's laying eggs. They're actually talking to you. They're telling you running out of room. So it's not like, whew, good, I dodged that bullet. No, now it's time to go give them room down below. Maybe it's time to equalize that hive out. Take some of those solid brood frames out and boost a weaker hive in your, in your yard. And get that hive some room. If you find in the summer and swarm season's kind of over and they have room to lay down, down below, and she's still laying up in that super, then put a queen excluder in. shake that honey super out to make sure she's not up there, ensure she's in that bottom box, and then slap a queen excluder on, put your super on top. I'm going to actually start doing that now. It's July 1st. Pretty sure that swarm season has really waned. It doesn't mean it's over. They can swarm at any time still, but the main propensity to swarm has passed. And now it's all about managing your honey. So I do have a few hives that I saw that the queen was laying up top when I pulled these honey supers, and now I have to go into those hives in the next inspection and see if they do indeed have room down below. If they do, I'll throw some queen excluders on. Real quick about queen excluders, you'll see they put some burr comb in there. They sell little tools to scrape that out. I've tried it. I think what works best is just a hive tool, and I just kind of sneak it right in the middle there. Brand new hive tool like that, and I'll scrape along the top to get everything exposed, in this kind of a fashion, to get everything that's exposed, and then I'll go down here and I'm just doing it for demonstration. I would put a little more effort into it than I am right now, and then I take my hive tool and I kind of go right above on those cross braces. Then I'll take the hive tool and I'll do this. I'll go right in between and I'll just kind of pick them out like that, and I'll just clean it up that way. I will tell you, in the wintertime, when you're bored and you can't wait and you got cabin fever and you're just thinking about your bees, that's the perfect time to maintain your equipment. Any boxes that you have that were taken out of production, when it's really cold out, this wax and propolis gets real brittle. So it would just kind of like right now it's kind of gooey, and it's a little bit laborious to scrape it off, but in the wintertime, it gets so brittle, it'll just just flop right out of there and clean up much easier. So that's my take on queen excluders. Thank you.